Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids and cubs, and welcome to Season 5 and episode number 84 of the True North Eager Beaver Interview Project. Oh, Canada! Always 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Wednesday, January 21st, 2022, and we are projecting into time for broadcast on Friday, January 23rd. I am your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A, and not with me as usual is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. A big thank you goes out to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca. Damn fam, how is your mental health today? I'm doing okay, a little frazzled. Lost at curling this morning, unfortunately. Again, having trouble with the stick curling because I just cannot seem to work it well with the new ice this year. And neither can my partner. So we're both playing terrible at the same time. We're having a really rough season. But hey, we keep our spirits up. And it's storming over here where we are here at the Beaver Lodge. So the weather is not particularly cooperative. But we have a little bit of a treat for you today. Nonetheless, it's going to be a short one today because yours truly has some travel plans. But we are here to provide an update. If you remember, kids and cubs, a few months ago, we had Mr. Federico Sanchez on our show, or Fed Sanchez, and he was a practicing physician. And he had spearheaded a petition that we had read and promoted on our show. It was House of Commons petition number E6679. And if you remember, we had him as a guest and he told us a lot about this petition and gave us some information about petitions in general that was very useful and that we have made use of since. And this was a petition in order to promote more political honesty from our parliamentarians and the petition was asking for the passage of legislation that would create some type of consequence for politicians who deliberately spread misinformation and also try to create some type of registry that we could consult as citizens to know how honest our politicians are being. We promoted the signature of that petition. We gained a significant amount of signatures, and we have an update from our guest as to how that worked and what are the next steps. So, kits and cubs, if you will, please put your paws up and give a big round of applause for Mr. Fed Sanchez. Welcome to the Beaver Lodge, sir.
Hello, thank you very much for having me.
It's so nice to see you again. How have you been?
Oh, I've been great. I mean, I was, in the snow today too, because it's it's snowing down here in Toronto as well.
I got a little bit of shoveling to do before I go. How's your mental health today?
Oh, it's pretty good because I just came in from a nice hike. But
Oh, nice.
The world is taking its toll on my mental health, that's for sure. But working on this petition has certainly helped me with that in terms of like feeling that I'm actually doing something, which is really great. It helps.
Mm. So let's get right into it. You have some news and an update for us. I guess first we should ask, how did the signatures go? How many did you get ultimately?
We got almost 45,000 actually, quite a few.
Whoa.
Yeah, it wasn't as much as I wanted. I wanted at least 50 because I thought that the press would start paying attention and then it would pop up into the hundreds of thousands, because I think that the reason it only hit 45 was because we just didn't get the publicity at all.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, well, we did on the very last day. Actually, the Toronto Star put it on the front page, which
Nice.
was fantastic. On a Sunday edition, no less, or Saturday edition.
Okay.
And we got a lot of signatures that day, but it came out at 6 in the morning, and the petition closed at 10 something that day. So
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, I mean, people since then, and people still can help the cause, because it's not over. It will be presented in Parliament on January 27th, which is next Tuesday.
Hmm.
And you can contact your MP and ask them to support the petition. And I've actually created a web tool to help you find your MP. So you put in your postal code, or even just the first three alphanumerics of your postal code, and it'll direct you to the contact information of your MP. And then there's a tool there to compose an email, where we've got probably, I don't know how many, 10, 15, 20 paragraphs that you can include. And then you just change it the way that you want it to sound, and send it off and let them know that you're concerned and want them to do something about this.
All right. Unfortunately, kits and cubs, there's a little bit of an audio issue, unfortunately. I'm hoping that you can hear our guest clearly. There's some scratching that's happening when you happen to be talking. So the quality isn't all that great. So hopefully that will adjust itself as we do the show. So it's going to be read on the 27th, significant number of signatures. What happens after it's read? What are the next steps, or what do you hope happens?
Well, I believe the next steps are that it goes to a minister who will then be responsible for answering the petition. And that minister will, decide on, whether anything will be done or what the next steps will be. Now, that minister is influenced by people who contact that person directly. So I'll find out who that is and put it on my website. By the way, for the tool, you can go to politicalhonesty.ca. And there's a link there for the tool, for the email MP Finder and email tool. And there's also, I'll put the information about when it's going to be, because it's supposed to be 11 a.m. on the 27th. It will be televised on CPAC, cpac.ca. There'll be a link there too. But it was supposed to be 10, and then it changed to 11, so it might bump around. So the last minute, I'll change, where it's supposed to be. And afterwards, I'll post who you should contact in terms of the minister to try to convince them to do something afterwards. Now, when you contact your MP, they, if they're interested, can contact the minister as well and encourage them to do something about it. So that's where activism really comes in. At first, it was the petition. We tried to get people to sign. That's a big step. The more you have, the more meaningful it has, the more weight it has. But at this point, it's all individual. It all is like individuals contacting their MPs, trying to get them to contact the minister, and also contacting the minister yourself.
All right. So in that case, kits and cubs, it's one of those things that we've mentioned on the show previously about either writing phone calls, sending emails, or preferably a handwritten letter, because that gets attention, that you would send either to the minister or to your own representative. And remember, if you are sending mail to elected representatives to, I believe, their House of Commons address, it's free postage. So all you need is your pen, your paper, preferably so that it's handwritten, so they know you mean it, rather than something typed up, because then they think it could be a form letter or something of the sort. And you make sure that your MP gets it. And why not send two, one to the MP and one to the minister?
Absolutely. The more the merrier. I mean, I sent emails to all of the MPs actually, twice, at two separate times during this process, and I'll be doing it another time as well.
Okay.
You know, they really need to know that we're concerned, because ultimately, for anybody who doesn't know what the petition is, it's expressing concern for members of parliament who spread misinformation. And in a nutshell, we're basically saying, we know it's happening, we know it's wrong, we want you to do something about it, because self-regulation is not working.
Right.
Yeah.
And in fact, it seems that certain people in our parliament seem to have more of an incentive to engage in misinformation rather than not to.
Well, that's the sad part, is that, you know, the misinformation gets the headlines, and then they get the attention, and then people start believing it, and they get what they want. And so misinformation works. That's why they do it. If it didn't work, they wouldn't do it. And we have to make it so that it doesn't work. We have to make it so that we at least notify them that we know what's going on and we don't like it, because that sends a signal that they won't get away with it. That's a bare minimum. From a higher level, hopefully it'll egg them to, you know, make certain changes, because there's even simple changes like the ethics commissioner having a little bit more power, you know, or you know, there's lots of things that they can do, because they can't really get away with spreading misinformation in the House of Commons, but outside they can.
Right.
And I think they should at least use the same rules inside the House of Commons outside to regulate their behavior.
With the possible exception of immunity.
Well, immunity, yeah. I mean, they have immunity. That's the thing.
In the House.
Outside the House too. Like they can't. You can't. It's very hard to do anything for when they lie. Because I mean, if it was easy, then they'd be getting nailed all the time. And because certain people are spreading lies all the time. And by the way, this isn't really directed against deliberate misinformation,
right,
or disinformation. But all misinformation. I mean, some people make mistakes, fair enough, but you can correct it, and you have to correct it publicly, and that's important, because misinformation that's even done not on a deliberate basis is still harms our democracy.
Right, indeed. For those of us who are newer to our podcast, who missed you last time, what type of measures are you looking for from this petition?
Well, I got the idea when I discovered that Wales was introducing legislation. They've already gone through this process. They started with a petition, moved on to a referendum, and then moved on to actually a bill to establish a legislation. And then now they're actually establishing legislation. It's supposed to be presented to the House of Commons by the beginning of this year,
Wow.
which they tried to do. But they ran into some difficulties because they're trying to do it for deliberate, and that's a lot more difficult. So they're running into roadblocks, but they're working through it. That's why I don't think we should do deliberate misinformation, because it's a lot easier to prove. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for, I mean, they have a lot of ideas there in the Welsh proposal, and the one that I like the most is a public webpage where the results of any investigations of the misinformation criticism is left permanently. So if somebody is accused of misinformation and it turns out they were telling the truth, that's there. And if it turns out that they were not, then it's there as well. Or if they retract it, then the retraction is there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if they refuse to retract it and then they get a penalty because of that, then that's there as well. And then that way, come election time, you can make an informed decision on who you trust. Because right now they say we don't need this mechanism because everybody's held accountable at the ballot box. Well, if you don't know whether they're lying, or at come election time you forget, or
right,
you know, it obviously doesn't work, because if it worked, we wouldn't have the problem that we're having now. Right. And I have to say, our problem is not that significant yet.
Okay.
But in the States, it's massive. And I honestly believe that we're a little bit under attack. with misinformation. And unfortunately, it's creeping into our MPs. And I don't want to see us go the way of the United States.
Yeah, you and me both on that one. So yeah, if we can get a little additional deterrence that would nudge people to hold themselves to different standards, maybe slightly higher standards, that could go a long way to help. It would be nice if it was in a broader package of things that would include, for example, some media ownership sovereignty and some, boosted funding for critical thinking education and civics literacy and media literacy and things of the like. But still, not having politicians who spread disinformation or misinformation, either accidentally or even worse, deliberately, does go a long way, because it very, very much does affect the public discourse.
Absolutely. And you mentioned some great examples too, but we got to tackle things one at a time for sure.
Yes.
And if they want to take this protest, effectively is what it is, and say, okay, we understand that the public is concerned, we're going to create a public literacy free program online that anybody can take about how to interpret, and make your own critical thinking analysis and how you can make your own decision. That would be a step in the right direction.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, it basically minimal. They should be doing it, and they say that in some ways that they are, but I mean, that kind of literacy is taught in, I can't remember which country. I think Estonia,
Finland, I believe.
Oh yeah, perhaps as well. In grade 6.
Right.
So I mean, it's going to take a long time for those people to become voters in that. But I mean, in this world of mistruths everywhere, I mean, AI makes it really difficult to know. Even worse.
Yes.
I mean, yesterday I was looking up something about Mark Carney and trying to figure out, whatever, and I got a response from ChatGPT saying Mark Carney is not the Prime Minister of Canada, and that is a fictitious thing, and I can I can answer the question based on your alternate reality, and I'm like, that was really weird. Yeah,
that was Grok, right?
ChatGPT. No,
that was ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Yeah,
wow.
and it said, I've got it right here, and then I said, well, who's Prime Minister then? They said Mark Carney, and I said, well, the two are contradictory, and they said, no, it's not, because right now it's Pierre Trudeau, and oh god, it was. I just went through, and finally at the end it said, yes, I made a mistake, but still, like, wow. That's something extremely basic, and so you can't depend on chat, and if the more that people do, the more our critical thinking just goes to this AI that is quite often wrong.
Yeah, because it's I see it a lot on the socials. Somebody makes a statement, then somebody's like, Grok, is this true? Or various AI, whatever, is this true? And then whatever it says, they say, well, haha. It's like, you frequently have to ask the AI, are you sure? Because and some of them are programmed to be a little belligerent, as it seems that you're well, I could validate your alternative reality, but that's we don't go to technology to be talked down to by technology. It seems a little weird.
Yeah. But I mean, the more that happens, and it's going to happen more and more, we do need, if we want to preserve democracy, which I desperately do, we have to grow with the times, and part of that is restricting MP discourse to facts.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not going to give us the facts, then we can't.
Yeah.
We can't make an educated decision.
Speaking about discourse, I was wondering, since it's the hot topic today, did you happen to hear the Prime Minister's speech at the World Economic Forum delivered yesterday?
Oh yeah, what an amazing speech that was! I have to say, it was one of those moments that I was really proud to be Canadian. And he seemed to me like a world leader, and was leading the middle powers, essentially. And I hope it works, and I hope that Europe has had enough, and this comes together, because the future could be better than the past if this works out properly.
I like it. I like people that still have a sense of optimism because there's a lot of fatalists out there these days. I tell you, man. It's like, don't even bother trying. It's done. It's over already. It's like, what do you mean, don't even bother trying?
Well, that's
You're
the
not
thing, is
alive
that,
if you don't try.
we get through this democracy part, right?
Right.
And then we still have climate change. We still have all this other stuff that's going on, the plastics and all that kind of stuff. Sure, but we got to do what we got to do. And one of the things that he said was we take the world as it is, not the way we want it to be. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's what we got to do. Like, we want things to be better, and we want to move in that direction, and we want to be practical about it, because that's really all we can. That's really all we can do. And to say that we've got to agree with the great powers, and like, hope that they're gonna that's being a vassal state.
Right.
I'm sorry, those days are over. It's just, when there's no information passed, and when there's no middle class anywhere, then sure, that can happen, and that's the way things were 1,000 years ago or whatever, maybe even 200 years ago, 300 years ago, but not now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it'll work.
Indeed.
And that's really what Carney was saying as well. I'm not going to say I agree with everything he's done, but that 100%.
Good. Yeah, it seems to be a common thing. I was at the curling club today, and everyone around the table were sort of like nodding their head in agreement, saying that they really like that. I find that people have that test. Ask the taxi driver and what they're saying, and you'll get your finger on the pulse. And go to your local curling club too. You'll get a good sampling. I'll tell you that for sure.
Well, yeah, I'm sure, because you get across the section political spectrum in those kind of clubs, right?
Right, and also classes.
Yeah, as well. And so, I mean, I've got friends who are very conservative. I'm very center, and so that's pragmatism. So this is totally up my alley. But I've got friends who are very conservative, and they thought the speech was great too. The main complaint I get from them is that they want more done, which I think that a lot has already been done.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the Conservative Party, the things that they want done are not the things that I would agree with. Right. They have some policies that the Liberals have adopted, and that's great. We're in an age where I think it should be fully cooperative. I don't think that the Conservatives should be complaining at all. They're getting what they want in a large amount of cases, and if they don't, then suggest alternatives and work with the government. That's what a minority government is supposed to work. That's how it's supposed to work. But to constantly say no, and we need election and all this kind of stuff, it's bad for Canada, and it's destructive. It's not constructive. And there's a leadership review coming up too for the Conservatives, and they have an opportunity to even the playing field, and to have a leader that is more center, willing to work. And then once this crisis is over, then they can go back to partisan politics. But for now, we need a united government. I mean, we're in a wartime kind of situation economically, and
Right.
It's possible through Greenland or whatever that this could turn a little hotter, and we need to be together. And this fighting is just, it quite frankly disgusts me that what's going on from the Conservative side. I'm not against the Conservatives generally, but in this I am. I mean, come on, this is Canada. They say Canada first. Well, put Canada first and work with the government to get through this crisis.
Yeah, I tend to see things the same way you do on this, when it seems to me that at this particular time, at this particular, to use a word term that the Prime Minister uses, hinge moment in our history, that there's no point in being Liberals or being Conservatives. We just need to be Canadians, and we need to be rather pragmatic or practical about the things. See the world with eyes wide open, and as the Prime Minister says, see the world as it is, stop living in the world of should and start living in the world of is, and act consequently. We have a limited amount of time to shore up whatever it is that we can, and to build as many defenses as we can, and to acquire as much leverage as we can, in order to be able to resist a reality that some people wish to impose on us, a reality that is lie-based and misinformation-based, and we don't want to live in that lie anymore.
That's right. I mean, number 51. That's what That's what prompted me to do this whole thing. It's all based on Never 51. If that wasn't going on, I don't think I'd be as committed as I am right now. But, you know.
Well, your commitment is very, very remarkable. For our kits and cubs, could you talk a little bit more about Forever 51?
Well, Never
concept?
51. It's,
or Never 51, sorry. Yes, Forever 50. I thought I was thinking of the store. I was telling myself in my head, don't say Forever 21, which is the name of the store, and then I ended up mixing them together, saying Forever 51, Never 51. Let me repeat that again, so that nobody is. Never, 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 never 51.
That's right, exactly. So it talks, for those who don't know, it has to do with the threats by the United States of making Canada the 51st state. And Never 51 says that's never going to happen. We're not going to be the 51st state. And I hate to have to say this, but we're never going to be the 52nd state or the 53rd state. I mean, they're talking about Greenland, the 51st. And then they had the audacity to talk about Iceland as the 52nd state. So, Never 51 can apply to any of the countries. I'm sorry. Yes. Never 51 for Greenland, Never 51 for Iceland, Never 51 for Canada, Never 51 for anybody. Unless they want to be.
Too.
That's a different story. But for Canada, we don't want to be. That's pretty clear.
Yeah, I agree.
And honestly, the people who want to be, just move to the States. Simple.
They have one little problem, though. The United States has to want them.
Yeah, well.
Listen, our Constitution guarantees people immigration rights, but the other country has to be willing to accept you.
Yeah, but if the other country doesn't accept them, then what makes them think that they would accept them if we were the 51st state?
Exactly. I think that's the part they haven't figured out yet. Yeah, indeed.
Even more scary was that I know somebody who was talking to the somebody high up in the government in the States, and was connected and said, yeah, he didn't believe in the 51st state either. He believed that Canada should be a territory like Puerto Rico, or where they have was it Puerto Rico or Guam, where they're owned by the states, but and have to answer to them, but they don't have voting rights.
Yeah,
even better, right?
Yeah, because if you're a protectorate or just a territory, you have citizenship, but that's about where it ends, pretty much. How, as we're getting ready to wrap up our time here, given the amount of effort you've put into this, right? The tagline of our show is because democracy is something that you do, and you have definitely put your skin in the game and put effort in the game. You've taken an issue, you've made it your issue, and you've decided to take on a leadership role. And you rallied, you got all those signatures. It is going to be read in the House. And then, there's a whole second wave of activities that you have planned. How are you feeling, I guess, to say about yourself? I know it sounds like a question where I'm asking you to humble brag here. But how are you feeling about yourself, and how are you feeling about the initiative, and how Canadians have responded? Because this is not light work that you have taken on here. It requires some dedication, it requires time, it requires determination, it requires stick-to-itness, it requires seeing things through and being consequential and keeping on top of things. And there are some days, you might be a little less motivated, or you're not getting the feedback that you want, and you have to find your own motivation to keep it going. How has the experience overall been for you, and how have you found that Canadians have responded?
Well, I think, as I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, that it's kept me sane. All of the stuff that's happening every day, it's just every day is something new. And some of the stuff that has come out of the United States yesterday and the day before, I was like, well, that's the worst that he's ever done, and it just keeps on going. But for me, every time that happens, I posted about the petition, and I got an inordinate amount of signatures. The worse the more terrible things he says, as well as stuff coming out of Canadian politicians as well, the more people sign, and that made it really kind of change the dynamics in my mind. Like something bad would happen and I would think, oh great, now I can use that to get the petition signed.
Right.
Whereas normally I would be like, oh my god, this is absolutely horrible, things are getting even worse and all that kind of stuff. I feel that too, and don't think that I want bad things to happen at all. Just
Right.
to get this passed, I wish it would all go away and then you can forget about the petition. That would be best, but unfortunately. So, but the reason I say that is because it actually changes my mood. Like, you know, to do something about it, it takes away that feeling of helplessness that we all have. It also exposes you to people who feel the same way. Like I've got about 10, 15, maybe 20 people online that I didn't know before, never met in person. Well, 2 I met in person at a demonstration, but you know, we communicate regularly now, and it's all coordinating stuff and whatever and all that, sharing ideas, and that's great, you know, to know across the country too.
Yes.
You know, like one's in BC, one's in Halifax, you know, one in Manitoba, you know, they're all over the place. And then there's like friends and, you know, who step forward and who lend support. There's a lot of people who just don't want to, you know, think about it, which is too bad. Yeah, it's most of the people that I communicate with are supportive of the petition.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Most. I would put the figure probably around 90%.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
really good, actually.
it's huge. I mean, most people think, yeah, that's a great idea. Then the certain subset of them think it could be unworkable, and we talk about different ways, and sometimes I change my mind, sometimes I don't. And then there's people who are on the other side who are like, yeah, we should throw them all in jail and stuff like that. So, well, okay, that's a little bit drastic, but you know, the idea is that they are very angry, and that's the thing, is that everybody is angry about this, frustrated and concerned. Those are all 3 separate emotions that we're all dealing with, and they're very strong emotions too.
Mm-hmm. And when they happen all at the same time, it can get a little messy.
Oh, it's crazy, and you know, it affects your ability to enjoy life and all that. But it's been fantastic. It has truly been fantastic, and it's also great to just speak with. I mean, I went on a Quebec tour, and you know, I was speaking in French with people, and you know, they feel very strong. They are even more threatened than regular, you know, the rest of Canada, because they know that their language is toast if they join the United States. You know,
right.
They'll go the way of Louisiana, right? So you know, there's that, and you know, 45,000 people, you know, signing is really great for considering the limited media exposure. But then since then, we've had about 1,000 people, we're almost coming up to 1,000 people who've used the tool to send emails to MPs.
Nice.
And I believe that most people who would use the tool would actually go ahead and do it, because they've already done the initial effort. So why not go all the way?
Right.
And then there's got to be, you know, many more people who are sending their own emails too. So, you know, 1,000, so it's like 3 or 4 emails each for MPs.
Okay.
You know, that's significant, and that's in a short period of time. That's been a month, right? And so we'll keep that up. So, you know, there's a lot of benefits, and you know, I think it's great. I think that activism is the best way to get yourself feeling hopeful about the future.
And along the way, as you mentioned, it seems that you've met some nice people and you've built yourself a bit of a network, which then, you know, you can have a little interdependence, and you can have some collaboration when any of you has a new idea for whatever initiatives you are pursuing, either collectively or on your own. You know, there's a group of people that you can sell it to, that you can talk about it, who are influencers in their own circles now, and have a broader circle. And that's how the word gets out, right? We need to start building these networks and finding out who's in our respective communities and what skills they have, and how we can mobilize those skills in order to you know, add additional safeguards, or at least, you know, to have someone to check in with every now and then. Go, it's like, am I crazy or is this nuts? Right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're fine.
There's a lot of
it's
that,
the situation
for sure.
that's nuts.
Yeah, people have started their own petitions too. I mean, one person started an honesty petition that's a little bit more hardcore than mine, and somebody else started a petition about you know, the more of a medical based type of thing, and and then in demonstrations, when you go to demonstrations, especially if you're meeting somebody you've only met, there's all kinds of different factions in there too. So you see some very interesting sides of the political spectrum when you go to demonstrations. Especially something as hot topic as immigration. With the immigration rally and then the anti-immigration rally, it's like it's very heated, very heated. But also some of the, getting talking to some people about their experiences and all that. It's very eye-opening for sure.
Well, Fed, we are close to the end of our time. Before we have to go,
just to be clear, I was in the counter demonstration for the anti-immigration.
Yes, I would have suspected so. Before you go, if there's any advice that you have for the Dam Fam or a message that you want them to leave with, to retain as we close this conversation, what would it be?
Please go to politicalhonesty.ca. Right there, the red button. You click on that, it goes to the MP find and email drafting tool. And you can choose whichever ones you want, change it however you want, find your MP, email them once, twice, 5 times, whatever, and email other MPs as well. Just get the word out. The reading will be on the 27th. That doesn't mean it's over.
Right.
People could still lobby the minister. I'll put the information there if you want to send some more emails after, and then maybe send it to the minister that I post on there. The more we notify them that we want them to do something about it, the more likely something will actually get done.
All right, there you have it, kits and cubs. Advice from the man who spearheaded the initiative, and we are very grateful that you have. We are very grateful that you reached out to us. We are very grateful to be able to help. Hopefully, what we did help a little bit, because many hands make for light work. So we put both hands in, and hopefully that contributed a little bit. But really, our thanks goes to you, because you had the idea, you took the initiative, you did the if not me, then who, and you saw this through. And now you have a very significant achievement to your credit that hopefully members of the Dam Fam, please, Dam Fam, will take you up on your challenge to do the second part, to ensure that this becomes more than a petition, but actually does get turned into legislation that we can all be proud of.
Absolutely. And the very last one, I think it's the very last one, but one of the last choices on the tool is Canada's in a position to be a world leader here, because eventually I think every democracy is going to have this kind of legislation. Otherwise, they won't be able to function properly.
Yep, I agree. Fed, thank you for doing democracy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thanks for helping out.
Oh, our pleasure. And please call on us anytime if you've got more updates, if there is, once it is read, if there's something more formal that's happening with regard to a letter writing campaign or that type of stuff, please do come on again, and we can focus attention on that. But do keep us up to date with what's going on, because we want to follow this up to its conclusion.
Thank you very much. I'll do that.
All right. Have a wonderful day. Hope you don't have to shovel too much.
Good exercise.
That's true. That is. I actually enjoy it for that reason. Exactly. All right. We'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, kits and cubs. That was Mr. Fed Sanchez. Again, the person who is at the head, spearheading. Of course, he had some help along the way, but petition number, again, I will read it just to make sure I got the correct one, E6679, to increase political honesty in our political system, and also at the same time create some type of registry where we as Canadians can go and find out just how honest our politicians are, which could come very, very, very handy come election time, especially if the politician in question is an incumbent and is seeking re-election. So there you go, kits and cubs. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show, short but sweet. We hope that you enjoyed it because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So tell your peeps and poops all about us. We really appreciate it when you do, especially when you include a little word from yourself about why it is our content resonated with you, because that is advertising we cannot buy and it is priceless. And we thank you for it. If you would like us to help you when we have audio podcasts back up and running, you can go to our pod page, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver with a hyphen between each one of those words. And when you click on subscribe, when we have something coming off the podcast bandwidth again, it will come directly to your favorite podcast feed. And you have the Ray Girl to thank for sponsoring our pod page. If you would like to help us in other ways, then please grab your surfboard and surf on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, where you can click on our buttons like, share, and subscribe with the approval of Kits, Cassie, and Elaine, which matters. And when you do that, you help us with the algorithm and our numbers go up, which gives us a little bit of happy. So we thank you for that. And if you would like to help us in other ways, say financially, because you like what we do and you would like to encourage us to do more, we would be more than delighted to receive your enthusiastic expressions of encouragement in the form of a tip. And you can do that at our coffee page. You just scan that QR code, coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word, and drop a couple of toonies or loonies in the emergency hydration fund, because we have to do our bit to fight the scourge that is dry beaver. Because a moist beaver is a very happy beaver. So make your beaver happy. And give us a little attaboy, attabeaver, attagrizzly. It makes us feel so good when you do, and we thank you for that. Now, if you are buying Canadian, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com is our email address, and you can send us an amount that way. And that way, when you do it, no CE Tech Bros in the United States get a share of your contribution and then donate it back to Donald Trump to say nasty things or do nasty things to us. That share comes to us, so you get more beaver bang for your buck. That's always a very good deal. And if you are not able to contribute financially, kids and cubs, you can make a contribution of another kind at the same email address, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. You can let us know what you think about the show, good, bad, or ugly. If ugly, please be gentle. You can send us some guest suggestions, send us some articles and clips that you think we should see in order to better prepare the show. And of course, remember our hashtag, KidsWhoCook, because yours truly loves to spend some time in the kitchen, but is sometimes bereft of ideas. And when I see what it is that you are making for yourself, sometimes it inspires me. And also, if you just have a little bit of good news, because with all the doom scrolling, we like to share in your joy just like you share in ours. So please give us some good stuff to read as well. We really need it these days. So your good news is good for our soul. And if you're creative, you're crocheting something, you're knitting something, you're painting something, let us know what it is. We like to share in your artistic pursuits as well. All right, kits and cubs, let's see, what do we have next? Because democracy is something that you do, please, if you have the time, watch CPAC on Tuesday, the 27th, around 11 a.m. to see the reading of the petition, particularly if you put your paws in and gave it a little signature of your own. You might want to see this moment. You did put the work in it, so you might as well enjoy it. And also, if you live on Prince Edward Island, do remember that on the 7th of February is the day that you get to vote for the leader of the Progressive Conservative Party of PEI. You cannot register for it. That is closed. But the second information forum, or sort of candidates debate, there are two candidates there, will be taking place tonight on the day you are watching this, the 22nd. So please tune in to that. And we also have two other petitions for you to look at. We have House of Commons petition E6821, which calls upon the House of Commons to pass legislation requiring majority Canadian ownership and control of print, digital, and other non-audio visual news media to protect Canadian sovereignty, ensure journalism integrity, and guarantee that our media reflects Canadian priorities and values. That's House of Commons petition E6821. And the other one is House of Commons Petition E7027, where we call upon the Minister of Health to recommend and support with Cabinet the exercise of the power of disallowance under Section 90 of the Constitution Act of 1867 in order to annul or repeal provincial legislation enacted in Alberta and Saskatchewan that restricts the right of transgender and gender diverse people, legislation that has been shielded from charter scrutiny through the use of the notwithstanding clause, and at the same time to reaffirm the federal government's responsibility to uphold charter rights across Canada. So if you could sign those would be fantastic. And remember, the public consultation period for Alto, the high-speed train project, is also underway, and you can let your views known by going to altotrain.ca/en/public-consultation. Words of wisdom, kids and cubs, whatever the issue is, right? Democracy is something that you do. Maybe you want to start a petition of your own. If that's the case, please make sure that you check out our initial interview with Mr. Sanchez, where there are some tips there about how you would go about getting that done, because we like to help. So we made the information available. All right. It could be a tough world out there, kids and cubs. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. We will not be doing an Easter egg on this show. But before we go, may I please have a little audience participation? I'll pretend you're in the room here with me and say, Mr. Beaver, please cue the cock on 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's hear it. Oh, kids and cubs. Yes, you sound like people who are willing to get out there and sign some petitions or even write some letters. Write some letters. That'll be a really good thing. But since you asked so nicely, I know you have, because you always do. I cannot resist. Here you go. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.